Is it still a top priority for you, though?
That's never been a top priority for me. This is a job. I'm here, aren't I?
Do you want to be here?
I don't want to talk to you guys at 7 in the morning or whatever time it is. So.
And welcome back, everyone, to the morning run. I hope you're all doing great today. It's a great President's Day. I don't know if this is actually going to be coming out on President's Day or not, but if it is, boom, that's some consistency for you. I hope you're all doing great. Spring training is just in full swing. We just want to come out. Nothing big has happened. Some free agents have signed, some quotes have been thrown around, some interesting things have happened so far, but nothing spectacular. Tyler, as always, it's my co-host. I'm joined by him, and, how you doing, buddy? What's up? How are you? How are you feeling now that spring training is, we're starting to get videos of players and stuff and whatnot?
Feeling really excited, obviously. I always feel a little beta at this time, because, we get so hyped, and, nothing really happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's no games yet.
So, obviously, that's not always great, but, it is President's Day, like you mentioned, which is a great day. We get to give our credit to our leaders, like Grant Williams, Vice President of the NBA. I assume that's what the holiday's for. I haven't really looked into it. But other than that, yeah, baseball's coming. It's coming close. It's slowly getting here. And we get to see, players in uniforms, players show up in their physique and whatnot. My boy Jordan Walker's looking nice, looking close to 270, which is what we like to see. Get that muscle mass on there, get that Aaron Judge formation going. We like that. So
interesting. Giancarlo Stanton looks good as well.
Good is a question, kind of maybe anorexic.
Listen. He slimmed down. He's good. He was in a baggy t-shirt. We'll see what Giancarlo Stanton's all about once the season's going. Once the games get going, more like it. Well, I think we're going to be impressed. I'm not saying anything, but he might break Ricky's single season stolen base record. Who knows? We'll see.
I don't think he's recorded his stolen base in 4 seasons.
Yeah, well, he slimmed down. Let me said, anorexic, and I think those legs are primed for some, little extra speed here and there. So, no, I'm in all seriousness, though. I think he looks good, and this is what this part of spring training is all about. We're just getting our chance to see the guys in action. The fans there are really in for a treat. I think it's a nice spring training.
Stanton has won stolen base since 2019.
Since 20, nice. He probably has 20.
It was one steal in the COVID year, I believe it was. If I recall correctly, this was a free steal.
Count those?
It's counted as a stolen base, yeah.
Defensive indifferences,
as long as it's not an error that occurs because you got there.
Yeah.
They just let him get the base, so that's always fun. When
interesting
that happens, but yeah, not a runner. And I've been a long theory on this that Stanton right around this time came out right around when he came to the Yankees and met with Luke Voigt. I think this is where my conspiracy goes. They were just big gym buddies. They were big on the bench press.
Yeah.
They were upper body boys. They skipped leg day, and I think that really affected Stanton. If you've looked at pictures of him post Luke Voigt arrival, that's when the top really blows up comparatively to the legs. The legs look like little tiny chicken legs, little skinny legs, little like pasta noodle legs. And I think that's probably plays a role there because, really slow out of nowhere, ineffective fielder. Hopefully the slim down can make him a little more playable in the field because that would help a lot of things with the Yankees.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's kind of what I was getting at with my joke. He looks a lot more maneuverable this year, and the last 2 years, not only has he not been healthy, but he just looks like a block of cheese, like a block of stone just running out there. And there's this clip that is just so embarrassing. He's running. The Yankees are going to tie the game. If not, I think he's the go-ahead run, and he is just caught on a good throw, but a throw that should not be in time on any on any competent runner. And he doesn't even slide because in his head, he knows like if he slides, he's going to get hurt automatically, which is insane. And then he just like kind of stumbles and stops, and the catcher like gives him like a hug. And it's like that's how he tags him. It's like so like encapsulates how the last couple years have been. It's just like, no, come here, it's okay. But you're out.
He's had a rough go at it recently. And like, hey, I'm going back to my theory again here, but hey, I'm looking at injuries. Starting June 25th of 2019, I'm going to list the injuries he had. Knee, right quad, hamstring, left hamstring, quad, calf, Achilles, foot, hamstring. All those are lower body, legs, probably because your body doesn't take well too much of that imbalance. Him normalizing a bit more from that photo we've seen might help there. We'll see. But, Stanton is one of these guys that probably you can say, not like an Aaron Judge, like he is legitimately injury prone at this point, or injury susceptible, whatever you want to say.
No, absolutely.
So you got to see it from him. Yeah,
absolutely. But the other thing that I've noticed, have you seen the Dodger propaganda going around? Well, there's been a lot of videos of Yamamoto. He's looking good. He's looking very good. But more importantly, it's hilarious what's been going on with Ohtani. People are posting stuff about Ohtani as if, like, this is the first time he's come to America. It is kind of funny. Everyone's just completely forgot he was an angel. Completely forgot he was an angel. It's actually kind of interesting. I saw a video right before we recorded of him. Just today's example, he hit a home run in batting practice, and the second the ball went off the bat, everyone off to the side goes, whoa, like makes a big deal as if this is the first time he's ever hit a massive home run. And the even the thing with Yamamoto, like, I think he's going to be really good, but obviously he hasn't thrown a pitch in against anyone in America yet, like minor league, major league, anything. So, spring training it's going to be nice to see him, but the bullpen, he looked really, really good. And even in the clips of the bullpen, like you could see people coming over to him like, oh my God, here. It's as if he won his 15th game of the season. Like, it's just really funny to see the nice media attention the Dodgers are getting, but it's going to be a good season for them for sure. They're 100% the favorites. Yeah, it's not even close.
Quickly on Yamamoto, we've obviously talked about him a lot, but at the current moment,
I had an article about him. But...
yes, you did, especially. You've talked about him in writing as well.
Yeah,
but I checking out the Rookie of the Year odds on betting sites. Yamamoto currently sits at plus 200, and I got to say, I'm invested in that. I'm taking shares of that. I know plus 200 isn't the best odds for awards. Like, we normally want stuff higher. It's always appealing, but 200 is still, you put in 10, you're getting 30 back. Like, that's a good bet. You look at the other guys that are in contention. The next highest odds are Jung-Ho Lee on there, and I don't think he's much of a threat.
No,
I don't think if you think about the Rookie of the Year, the way he loses it is by obviously if he gets completely hurt. But I think the only type of player that could surmount him is someone like a Jackson Chourio, someone who has a ton of talent. But he's only 19. Yamamoto has not that much older, but 5 years, a big difference in MLB terms.
No, exactly. So, it's a totally different thing.
To me, it's like, I think you gotta expect him to win this award. And I think obviously, I think he's maybe the most expected Rookie of the Year winner in some time. And I think if he doesn't win Rookie of the Year, that there's something there's an issue so far.
Yeah.
Obviously, it can be turned around. Not saying, terrible contract, but you got to have high expectations right away for Yamamoto.
Yeah, 100%. He's going to be so hyped up early on. Deserves it 100% with what he did in Japan and produced. I think it's going to be it's going to be a really fun season. Really fun season. And the way the way I'm looking at it is our teams both have a shot at surprising people. They were really disappointing last year after having a lot of hype around them the last previous years. we're for the first time, our teams have really kind of followed the same trajectory the last couple of years. It's kind of funny, but I've seen a lot of stuff coming out of spring training around Juan Soto and Garrett Cole, Marcus Stroman, all these guys, the big names that the Yankees have got. It's really, really nice. Something I saw, Juan Soto said that he can't wait to play in Yankee Stadium because he's from playing at it in Yankee Stadium as a opponent, he's seen how exciting it gets and it feels like home. Now, I just recorded a podcast for the Yankee podcast that I do, and I said that I don't know what that means, but that sounds good. I wanted to get your take really quick on this because in the previous episode that I did with the other co-hosts that I have, I brought up the fact that the Yankees are basically going to use this year as a chance to swoon him. Like they're getting their head start on it. Do you think that just early on, based on anything really, do you think that the Yankees will end up getting him long term, or do you think like
Not sure.
do you have a team that you could see him going to?
I think that I'm not sure what the future holds for Juan Soto, but I can say the Yankees are officially on the clock or the hot seat or whatever term you want to use.
Yeah.
You got to convince him by now because, I mean, you've heard the media machine of SNY and New York Post. If you're in New York, you may know where I'm going with this, but I'll explain a little further.
I didn't know
a lot of these people, SNY specifically, obviously current is partially owned by the Mets, but New York Post, a lot of those reporters are very chummy with the Mets front office and people within the Mets organization. Steve Cohen and his media machine are going strong. I've seen a lot of Mike Martino, a lot of John Heyman, a lot of people flown the idea of, hey, could Steve Cohen be interested in Juan Soto? Hey, fans, would you be interested in keeping Pete Alonso or bringing in Juan Soto? And I do think that for a long time, Steve Cohen has been very interested in Juan Soto, bringing him in. We know they have money. We know he's willing to spend. And I think that is the biggest threat right now for the Yankees. Obviously, having him in your organization for a year helps with the idea of bringing him in. But I think the way I see it is Cohen is prepping for battle in the sense of the same way with Yamamoto. He's going to have whatever money he wants. And it's just a matter of where Yamamoto or where Soto in this case wants to be. So the Yankees have to convince him to why the Bronx is great, or else I think he'll probably be in Queens in 2025. But I don't like it's very possible the Yankees can convince him to stay. I mean, the Dominican presence of the Yankees fan base is very strong and very vocal in terms of actually at the games as well. And I think that will play a role for someone like Juan Soto, who is Dominican from that heritage. I mean, people are going to incredibly embrace him, like immediately. I think even if he struggles, he's not going to be a boo guy necessarily. Like, I think there's going to be a huge part of this fan base that is just excited that Juan Soto is a part of it. So I think that is a big, big help, and maybe makes me lean towards him staying with the Yankees. But I mean, the way Juan Soto is playing it is very close to the chest. Obviously, he's wanted to hit free agency for years, and it'll be interesting to see when it comes. But
yeah, I mean, I actually didn't know if you saw that or not, all that stuff about the Mets. But yeah, it seems like the Mets are really dead set on it. And from a perspective of a fan, that would be an insane move to happen. Because look, I don't know if I've done it on this podcast or not, but I know I've definitely done this like with us, like joking around and whatnot. I act like this defensive Yankee fan, like, oh, it doesn't matter what he does. The Mets are still the Mets. Like, I know I do that. And listen, I was still half right. The Mets didn't get Yamamoto, but it's not because that they're the hopeless franchise. It's not because of that anymore, in all seriousness. But there is a thing here where I do believe that it doesn't matter how much money necessarily Steve Cohen pulls out for Juan Soto. It's going to be comparable to anything else anyone else puts out. And I don't think Cohen will, even if he's in a desperate move of going, hey, take this deal, but it's 20 million extra or 15 extra, like whatever it is. Like, I don't necessarily think that's a done deal. I don't think that necessarily actually happens. It didn't happen with Yamamoto. But the thing that I do have to say about it all is that, not from the quote I mentioned, he's a showman. he knows how to even make people love him. He's Juan Soto. He's never been hated. He's never been hated. So, he might just be saying the right things, but I think the Yankees do have a chance to have the upper hand here. Like you said, he's Dominican and all that sort of thing. I think Rui can appeal to someone and really get to, the atmosphere at Yankee Stadium is much different. I haven't been to a Mets game really in a while that when they've been extremely good, but it's different. Even when they're at their best, the crowd is a little bit more mundane. Anyone who disagrees with me, I'll turn you to the clip of I'll turn you to the clip of that guy Timmy Trumpet doing the walk-up song for Edwin Martinez. Who am I thinking of?
Edwin Diaz.
Edwin Diaz. Jesus, sorry. Yeah, Edwin Diaz coming in for the trumpet for his trumpet because that's his song, and he's playing it. It's hyped up and it's going throughout the stadium. And like you watching it on the video, you want to pump your fists, and then you look at the fans, and they just all have their phones out, and they're all just watching it, and they're not moving. And it's just listen. That's fine. The Mets fans, they relax. They relax and they enjoy baseball that way. That's good. Yeah. That's fine. But the Yankees have the chance to basically show them. Because if we're all being honest here, it's the same city regardless of what team you play for. You're still going to go to the same clubs. You're still going to be, going to all the same things. It does not matter. It's not like, and because you said like he has to show why the Bronx is better than Queens. He's gonna live in Manhattan somewhere, or in Jersey. Like CC Sabathia lived in Jersey,
or like upstate,
Yeah. It's more about the experience of being at the stadium and the teams that you can put together with Juan Soto being the centerpiece along with Aaron Judge or in Queens. But here's the thing I want to ask you before we wrap up and talk about something, some of the other things we have here.
Are you going to ask me about Evan Diaz?
Yeah, about David Diaz, actually. No, I wanted to ask you, do you think if the Mets are going after Juan Soto, that signals that they're departing from Pete Alonso? Because for the Yankees,
I would think so.
But for the Yankees, it's adding Juan Soto to Aaron Judge.
I can the reason why I say I think so is, look at the Mets, look at Cohen. He's been a guy that has said, look, if you are good for us, you've been good for us, we're taking care of you. He signed a lot of players that were still on that Mets team if they were producing well. Look at Brandon Nimmo. Look at all the extensions they've gotten done with players before they've hit free agency. This is, I know it's short, small sample size, but Alonso is the anomaly in the short Cohen tenure, contracts and all that. And I feel like you don't keep him around this long unless you're thinking about something else, like aka Juan Soto being there in free, another big prize being there, because it's not like, oh, Mark Vientos, they're ready for him to pop up and be the Alonso replacement. No, the replacement there is Juan Soto. And Pete Alonso, you probably don't want to keep Alonso if you're bringing in someone like Juan Soto, just because paying him that much, maybe you spend that much money alternatively in another place, but you rather have it outside. You just bring in Juan Soto. You don't necessarily need Alonso to upgrade the offense. Like, you can probably do more with less in terms of salaries and dispersing of all that. But yeah, I do think it means Alonso will probably be gone.
Interesting. Yeah, because I know that's what people had been talking about earlier in the season. During the trade deadline, there was rumors that maybe he gets traded, maybe he doesn't. There's just been general talk for the last year. I want to say that there's a chance Pete Alonso is moving on from the Mets, and it's not his choice. It seems like it's Cohen's choice, and there's even the Mets fans do not want that. Like, that's the general sense. But I feel like if the alternative is Juan Soto, then then I feel like they'll get over it. But
can I kind of quickly
go ahead.
Kind of ask you a little something here with Cohen, Soto, all this talk. Well, the Dodgers as well. They decided Ohtani, obviously. And we've heard from a lot of, these reporters and these people who have information saying, hey, this was the Dodgers' plan. That's why they let Seager go, and that's why they did not sign anyone last season. They have thought for years, Ohtani, and they have stuck the course with that, and they stuck it and they landed it, and they didn't deviate from that. And it makes you think, will more teams, we saw the Mets say we're resetting for 2025 pretty early in the 2023 season. Giving them that's a long plan, probably because you have a vision there. Maybe it's Juan Soto, maybe it's someone else. I don't know, but obviously there's something there. And I think maybe more teams follow the Dodgers route, saying, "Hey, look, there is this prize down the tunnel. Let's focus. Let's hone in." I think maybe Cohen has kind of gone in that mode with Soto because it seems like a lot of the moves they have made have been to downsize for someone in that time where they feel they will be competitive, which would be after this season. That's what they've displayed. So do you think that that's kind of what, do you think it's kind of the Mets are trying to do a little Dodgers thing here, stay in the course? Or do you think that they're just kind of scrambling for whoever the next guy is? It's just the media saying, "Oh, this is the next big guy," and Cohen has a lot of money.
No, I think you actually have a point there. I think there might be a shift. I mean, baseball kind of works in trends, with contracts, at least in our lifetime. We were born and were little kids around the time when you gave players huge contracts once they became a free agent, and it didn't matter what age they were. And so that's when you ended up with players like Albert Pujols making so much money when he shouldn't be making that much money anymore, and that sort of thing. Then it's shifted to what we have now with like these contracts that are fully paid out with going to the extreme of Ohtani with basically a full deferral, and that's it works in trends. So I could totally see them kind of working and saying teams, along with the rebuild strategy that the Astros kind of pioneered. Not that the Mets are going to go full on that way either, but I think there's some validity to the fact that the Mets and maybe in the future other teams are going to say, "Listen, we're not just going to throw money at players just because they're good. We're going to hold out if we think we have a chance at a certain year and time period for a premier free agent. And then we're going to hold out because we want to position ourselves to be the top choice and not have to be waiting in the wings and have to even bow out because we're committed to other people that are, no longer worth their contract." And that's an interesting thing because we're kind of seeing that right now with what's going on with Snell and Cody Bellinger and Matt Chapman right now. They're still name-wise pretty big name free agents, and they're all just waiting. Snell, at least we've heard in recent days, has gotten an offer from the Yankees, I think either today or yesterday, at the point of our recording. He's, the two-time Cy Young winner, reigning National League Cy Young winner. So he's a good player, but the Yankees offered him like a 5 or 6 year deal earlier in the offseason, and Snell turned that down. So with that in mind, the Yankees kind of like, we're good. But now they seem like they can swoop in, offer something short-term with a high average annual value. Tyler, what do you think about this kind of move?
Yeah, you mentioned 3 names there. And we also, harking back a little bit to our convo about Juan Soto, saying, no one hates Juan Soto. How can you hate Juan Soto? Well, I can tell you these 3 are the trifecta of 3 main characters in my hating agenda. I'm not a fan of really any 3 of these guys, Cody, Chapman, or Snell. 3 hater horsemen, you could say. But we bring up Snell. His market is clearly not what he wants. I think he might be a little shocked. 2-time Cy Young winner. People are like, whoa, how am I not getting this? That might be his mind, but we know what you are deep down, Snell. You bring up the Yankees talking to Snell, maybe offering him a contract. Well, the guy we didn't mention there was Jordan Montgomery. And I know the Yankees have been there, done that with Montgomery and all that, but his market clearly is not what it wants to be either because he's not signed. And why not do a similar idea offer structure to Montgomery, someone who has proven to be a winner in the World Series and the playoffs and get it done. And unlike someone like Blake Snell, who has been taken out of big games, probably because of the lack of confidence instilled into him by his manager, the manager does not have confidence in him because that's who he truly is. He's a guy that you don't have confidence in at the end of a game in the World Series. And the Yankees want to be in the World Series this year. So my question is, they're so interested in Snell. Why not Montgomery?
Because I don't
Lefty
think
too.
I don't think they can go back. Like from their point of view, not that this is the smart move or anything, but I think from their point of view, they gave him up for Harrison Bader. Like they have to just be done with him. That kind of is the thing. I think like they just have to be, because otherwise, I guess it signifies like, they also non-tendered Bader. Like they fully just did not care what happened to him. It's rather designated him for assignment, and so it's sort of like an optics thing, I think, where Snell, they could say, hey, listen, it's two-time Cy Young winner. Look what we did. Look what we did. We just got a two-time Cy Young. It's like a whole optic thing. And if it's a short-term deal, it's like perfect, because if it doesn't work, like it may even be a 1 year deal, like an opt-out situation, like a 3 year deal with an opt-out after the first year for the team or something like that. Excuse me, or a vesting option or something, because in the years he doesn't win the Cy Young, he doesn't pitch that many innings. So maybe it's something like that, and that way, if it doesn't work, okay, it just didn't work that year. Move on to the next thing, no big deal. Where Jordan Montgomery, I think it has to be somewhat of a long-term deal, like a 4 year deal or something like that. And if he ends up reverting like back to what he was like on the Yankees, which was good, he was a good pitcher, it's just not going to make that much of a difference from where they were at the point when they traded him, and I think it's just going to be a whole other headache for them. I think it's more of an optic thing than actually a skill thing, because I think it's probably, especially if we can talk about short-term contracts at this point, it's probably the better move. Like you said, I also don't really like Snell that much, but from a fan's perspective, like I can totally see why that would be a massive, like big deal.
Well, I also mentioned, I'm not big on a Matty Chapman either, but if I'm the Yankees, like, again, it's like, don't I need a third baseman more than I need a Snell? I know you aren't hype on Rendon, but hey, you have Cole. You have good rotation pieces. Like Nestor Cortez was an all-star not that long ago, but you hope he can bounce back to a pretty solid front end of the rotation guy. Like, to me, it seems like you have a lot of guys that can be those rotation spots, and maybe not a lot of third basemen. So I'm even more confused about why the need on Snell per se, but in pitching in particular, like I would think, it's clear everyone on the market right now is not getting what they wanted. Their value is not what it was when they first inquired. So that goes to Chapman as well. It's not going to cost what you thought it did in November and December and even January. So, like, why not do that with Chapman, a guy who has shown stretches as well, and also gives you a big floor in defensive value as well that is valuable, even if he's not hitting amazing. So maybe that question as well, opposed to a Yankee fan, why do you think it is that they're so insistent on pitching here?
Because I don't think Brian Cashman wants to commit long-term to anyone right at the moment. I think, especially with the prospect of signing Soto long-term. Also going back to our overall discussion that we started with teams holding out for that one big guy, no matter if they're short-term or, a small market or a big market franchise. I think that might be a big thing. Like they want to know that they've got Soto and Judge locked up before that they go out and make any like long-term commitments as well. Also, they've got DJ LeMahieu for third base, that he is earning a lot of money. He's not a viable option anymore, I don't think, but he is earning a ton of money.
Sorry. You think? I'm with you. I'm totally with you on the premise, though. The Yankees feel they're committed to him because of money. I agree. But
well, that's the premise.
That guy's a carcass.
No, I know. No, I know that. But that's the premise of it. That's the premise. Like, they're not, like, with that in play, and that the fact that they have to justify his contract at this point because it is at that threshold. It is at that threshold of being just a little bit too much, where that they can't throw him on the bench and just have him be overpaid.
I think for the Yankees, that's their track record. Like, there's a lot of teams that we've seen when there's not a lot of years left, they're very willing to just burn the bridge, move on, get past it. But like we just saw the Yankees with Donaldson hold out for so dang long, even though he had 1 year in that contract, they kept him on the team for months.
Yeah, and we talked about that event I went to for John Boy. Like, Aaron Boone was talking about DJ LeMahieu leading off, like fully 100% leading off. So that means he's playing third base, that just, so I think their mind is made up in that department. That's why that they're so insistent on
You don't
pitching.
think
Like,
he's going to play second?
no, because Glaber's still on the team.
Oh, I thought he would be on the bench.
Yeah, you just hate him. But to Matt Chapman's point, like, if they could get like a 4-year deal out of him, I would fully do it. He's a guy that, at his best is a 27, 25, 28 home run kind of guy. I am, I don't hate that. And then that's with the fact that he plays elite defense. Like, he is overall a league average hitter that plays elite defense. And I would take that, for the next 4 years, get that at third base, fully just let Volpe try his best. And if there's any other homegrown guys that can come in and take the place in the meantime, boom, fully.
Just let Volpe try his best is a wild phrase.
Nah,
I'm not. No, I'm just. It is fun, funny.
He hit under 200 last year. It was pretty. It's pretty.
Where I'm more out on Volpe at this point, a lot more than you are. I still think there's hope. Like, he can be a guy, but like, I mean, in terms of totally long term, like, the Yankees have they're churning out shortstop like, there's guys. So I'm less convinced that he's now like this anchor long-term guy, but like, he can still easily turn his career around. I just think at this point, I think it's unlikely that he's some long-term shortstop for the Yankees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. So I think I don't see why I don't disagree with why you could see that, but like you said, I have more faith in him than you do. But Matt Chapman could be a good move, because you bring him in, he's an anchor in the infield at least. All these other guys that we're talking about are more outfield options. Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, like all these other guys. Anthony Rizzo is a free agent after the next season. Gleyber Torres is a free agent after next season. We just discussed about Volpe. So that you need someone in the infield, and also catcher. We just have anyone playing at any point. I mean, Jose Trevino and Austin Wells, but it's not like those are.
What about Ben?
And Ben Mortfat, the jack guy who doesn't know how to hit. So it would be nice to get some solid piece in the infield. And to be quite frank, especially with the current climate at shortstops and the people at third base that are going to be available, he's kind of the best chance the Yankees have at a consistent guy that's a league average, above league average kind of guy that could be an all-star when you go like when you want something, when you're gonna have to pay someone a little bit more. Yeah, like he's a good option. But my thing is, I don't know if I, even as a fan, want him for 6 years. 4 years, 5 years, maybe. Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Like, I understand completely. Like, I wouldn't want Chapman for that.
Because he's 30. Like, he's 30. Yeah. So if I'm following just
he's also inconsistent offensively.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if I'm following conventional wisdom, like, you're at 30, you've always been a little inconsistent defensively year to year. I noticed he developed his reputation really based off one season. He had one season in 2019 where he hit, well, basically 2 seasons. In 2018, he had 24 homers, 24 homers, 100 runs scored, and 68 RBIs. He was a big part of the offense. Big part. He had a WAR of 6.3. A lot of it had to do with his defense probably, but still, very, very good. And then the next year, 36 home runs, like, he added to it. So people are like, oh my God, is there a chance Matt Chapman could be a 40 home run guy now that he's at 36? I think that's what also happens when you get to 35, 36 home runs. People start thinking, can you get to the next one?
And you participate in the home run derby.
Exactly.
He did that, I remember, and like, I mean, for what it's worth, like, that will bring up a guy's status in terms of power.
Yeah, definitely.
And,
and very quickly, quickly his status changed. But I don't think he really is that type of player. I think he's just a little bit more middle of the road offensively than we generally think he could be or should be. And those years were just, I guess 2 spoiled years maybe.
Yeah.
But
we can like probably close out like this snail Yankee talk. But I mean, I don't want to be this guy that gets everyone all grumpy in this group chat like you, or in this Zoom call like you. But I mean, I think it's because I've been playing a lot of MLB The Show recently,
yeah.
All my hitter road to the show guys, I use Corey Seager's swing and stance, and like, Man, Corey Seager in a way, it feels like he was just born to be a Yankee. Like the way he swings that ball, like, it's just like perfect there. And like that was just the biggest missed opportunity in the world. We know that they had heavy interest in him, but it didn't formulate because he can move him. Like he's not a superstar defensive guy. Like he could have fixed this third base problem. And I really hope though that the Yankees like have learned their lesson about this. Like, Juan Soto, yeah, he's not technically a free agent, like an acquisition, like he's on the team if they sign him, but like he's just as like I feel like it would be the same type of feeling because it's just Juan Soto's this important of a free agent. They have to not play scared no more, because this team has all the foundations to be a World Series team. They just have to continue to bring in those pieces they need. And I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like there's just something here with the Yankees that I feel like I can totally see them get 3 rings in the next till 2030. But I could also see it as something that they have enough talent. It's just they're going to need to make those moves. And I don't know if they will, but we can close it out with that. But obviously, I think the Yankees are just this really weird team where it's just like.
Well, I think they see that. I think that's fully why even the Blake Snell thing is going on.
But they get so hesitant here because it's like if they felt that, if they really feel like, it's like we have the opportunity to get multiple championships with this core. Why are you being scared about bringing in a Snell on whatever contract? Why are you scared about bringing in these guys who are considered the best free agents on the market? I think that's a little concerning. And that's where I'm still concerned with the Yankees. Like they have to pull the trigger and start doing it more often because Judge is a special talent. And you brought in another top 5 player with him as well. Like these opportunities don't come around long. Let's get serious. Let's get to our contender championship level.
I think that's true. And maybe the overall answer is that they need Soto locked in first. Sort of why I said with Chapman as well. But I think that might be the overall answer.
Well, yeah. But I've probably said this to you many times. I've noticed this. My dad, a diehard Yankee fan. I always said for the past calendar year before Soto was there, before the rumors were there about Soto, which was probably like right around the trade deadline this year, but like earlier, I always said this Yankee team, if they add a second slugger, their ceiling is championship. They have that team. They just need that second guy to help Judge a little bit more, not be the superhero 162 games. Yeah. And that's exactly what they got. So my expectations
they got significantly better.
Yeah, my expectations are the roof for them, or the ceiling, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, they got significantly better, and they need to go out and just make the other pieces give them the shot that they deserve.
Yeah. Well, you also know I'm like very hesitant to go out and praise the Yankees in the preseason. I like to be my pessimistic self, but it's just this is like they got the missing piece. Now go for it. And obviously that doesn't mean the team's set because their team had issues last year, not just a second player, but bringing in like this will make them a playoff team no matter what, even if they have massive holes otherwhere. They're a playoff team. Let's get to the championship. Let's ensure that spot in the World Series. I think if that means Snell, do it. And I know I was hating on it, but if the contract is opt out and short, I think there's no risk there.
That's what I mean.
If you feel it, go for it. But obviously Montgomery's my top choice, and I think we could end on that. But
well, the other thing is that Snell has apparently options of contract offers from the Angels and the Giants. So I think what we're seeing is Snell is either being given a choice of I think he's being given a choice of the Yankees short-term option that we just discussed, or listen, we'll give you the years, but we're not paying you the money you want.
Yeah, because I totally see the Giants having a 5-6 year offer, but just very less in money, and like the Giants are totally like we talk about the Yankees and their their lack of signing guys. I mean, for the Giants, it's times X times 10, in terms of how intense that is. They're willing to sign a guy long term. They probably just have their financials differently. I think it's just, if he decides, hey, I want the years, he's going to sign with the Giants any second now. But if he wants to gamble on himself and all that, he can go with the Yankees. And hey, look, I'll tell you this much: if if Blake Snell can get with the Yankees into like they make the World Series and he can redeem himself in a game, like basically not get pulled in a controversial situation and pitch well, um, hey, I think that would actually really improve his market value. Like that would just make a lot of teams less concerned about something, whether it's
Yeah, it's
real or
definitely
not.
enticing. It's definitely enticing. It's definitely enticing. So we brought up the Angels. I just very quickly just there. I kind of wanted to pivot, talk about our next thing that we had. I think this is the last thing we had in mind. But I don't know if you saw, because it's spring training, there wasn't really there's no games, there's not, there's no action, nothing like that. But what we're starting to see is we're starting to see the players show up, and we're starting to see the different looks and sights and sounds and whatnot, and all the interviews.
You know what we see. Another way you could say something I think that's very good from this part of spring training. You get a lot of good memes, Victor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and
A lot of funny things that happen.
We're sort of starting to get that already. We're already getting Anthony Rendon hates baseball content already. It's not even opening day, and we already get 2024 Anthony Rendon hates baseball quotes. I feel like it's kind of a joke that's beaten to death at this point, and maybe this is why I have my take that we'll talk about later. But yeah, he was asked a reporter asked him a question. I guess I'll put it. I think I'll start the episode like with part of the quote at the top, so everyone hears it when they click. But this is the point where we're actually talking about it, and I'll put the quote up. I'll put the quote in right here.
Is it still a top priority for you, though?
That's never been a top priority for me. This is a job, so I do this to make a living. My faith, my family come first before this job. So if those things come before it, I'm leaving.
Is it a priority?
Oh, it's a priority for sure. This is my job. I'm here, aren't I?
Do you want to be here?
I don't want to talk to you guys at 7 in the morning or whatever time it is. So
Do you want to like be here playing baseball?
I have answered your question. So why do you keep picking at it?
Oh, yeah, you technically answered it.
Thank you.
So yeah, you guys heard that, the full exchange between the reporter and everything, and I wanted to put that in on purpose because everyone saw it on Twitter and they saw how it was written, but you all now just also heard the exchange, and so the full thing was that basically the reporter that the quote has everyone up in arms is that Anthony Rendon has once again reiterated the fact that baseball is not a top priority for him, and that his family and everything else takes his family and his faith takes way more of a priority, like is not even in the same
And there's
level.
a deep drive to left field by Castellanos.
Now, Tyler, do you want to go first or?
Honestly, I would like you to go first here because we talked briefly, just like when preparing for the topics we were talking about.
Yeah, but I did say I'll save it for it.
You were explaining a little bit about it, and I didn't see the full video. I didn't watch it. I read the article.
If you re-listen to the episode at this point, you'll have heard it.
I'll retrack it, but at this point, I have not heard it. So, I know you had some specific ideas behind it and takes. So if you could start it off, I think that'd be great. I don't really necessarily know a lot of context. Obviously, in face value, reading it doesn't look great. Because
exactly. Okay.
Voice can change things, so that's why I want to ask you first.
Yeah, so definitely reading it, and with the previous context that Anthony Rendon has given on his feelings about baseball, it doesn't look great at all, and it's still not maybe the best. But look, I don't like Anthony Rendon. Also, I don't like. I think he's a big contributor to why the whole Ohtani Trout thing failed, probably the main contributor to why the whole thing failed there. And he had that confrontation with the fan while he stunk when he played and everything. Like he's and I also I don't want to say he is and be that guy, but like it's a very easy cop out to suddenly now be like, oh yeah, I'm Christian. Like he has kind of always said that. I did see some stuff that you showed me, but like now he's reiterating it again. It's a little convenient for him to be like, "Oh yeah, my faith is actually what I care about the most, and my family. So now maybe you won't criticize me anymore." It's just like it's kind of convenient. But like in this case, let me be clear. I don't think this should be a big deal, and I think this is part of the reason why, if he is making that up, like that would be the thing. That would be why. Like he ends up having to deal with stuff like this. So on paper, the reporter asked him, if baseball is his top priority, and he said no, his faith and his family take full on priority over that. And if something happens in that and he has to leave baseball, he won't even think about it. Like basically that's what he said, right? And there's many ways to say that, and the fact that people are upset that he said that means that reading it is much different. But when you listen to it, and you all have just listened to it, and maybe you can see what I'm saying, is he's actually trying to be very impersonal with people. When you're trying to talk with people that you like and you're trying to just be casual, I know Tyler and I definitely say things and in an attitude sometimes that, on face value doesn't always reflect the overall message. But when you're there in the moment, you understand, and excuse me, when you have the context, you understand. And so he was trying to be very impersonal, I think, and I think he was actually trying to be a little, have a moment in the overall kind of interview, right? And he was like, "No, it's not a top priority. My family is a top priority." Like he's being real frank. He's not being a baseball player. He's being an adult with them for a second. Like yes, it's baseball. We all love baseball. I love baseball so much. Like it's yeah, we get that. But it's also real life. Like it's a made up sport, like it doesn't exist in order for the world to go on. And I think that's his mindset. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, and that's kind of how his voice was sounding. Like he was like, "No, my family's a top priority. My faith, like that's what's a top priority. Like this is a job. I do this for a living." And the other thing is that he was saying that if things change in his family and he has to leave baseball, he will and won't even think about it. And people are like, "Yeah, well, not everyone can do that with their job." It's like, yes, but he's realistic. He's a baseball player. Like he's made millions of dollars. That is the choice he can make, and he's just being honest. And I don't think that's a bad thing to say. Like I don't think that's also contributing to him being like, "I hate baseball. It stinks." Blah blah blah. I don't think this is one of those cases. And then to take it a step further, which you guys heard in this that I played, is that the reporter then goes like, after he answered that part, he was like, "Well, do you enjoy this? Like, it's not that it's a top priority. Do you enjoy it?" And he was like, "Yeah, I enjoy it. I don't like being here at 7 a.m. with you guys." Like, yeah, who does? Let's be frank. Like, yeah, we're fans. We love all these quotes and whatnot, but let's be frank. I don't like being up. I wouldn't like being up at 7 a.m. to go at my job, like at my job. You wouldn't either. Like it's not, let's just be frank here. Like that's not a crazy thing to say. And then the reporter kept going. The reporter went like, "Well, do you enjoy playing for the Angels?" And then Anthony Rendon said like, "I answered your question. Why do you why are you prying at it?" Like this is normal. I don't know. Am I crazy? Like I don't see anything wrong with any of this, And in the report, in the video, I don't know if everyone heard, like, even the reporter was just kind of like, he couldn't let it go. He was like, "Oh, you technically answered my question. Okay, haha. It's not necessary. Just ask the question, let him answer it, move on." I'm sure there were other reporters there that also wanted to ask questions, but maybe they even got their chance. That's probably not even an issue. But, like, I don't know. It didn't seem like this crazy thing to me. Like he said so many other things in the past that have made me be like, "Yo, Anthony Rendon, what is this? Like you're just a jerk that happens to be athletic, like no, in this case, I think he was just trying to be tongue in cheek and be honest with people, and it backfired. Like, I don't know. What are your thoughts on the whole situation? But like, that's how I feel. I feel like this shouldn't even have been a discussion.
Okay, so in the time you were talking, I did check out the video to give myself some context of the whole thing. I gotta say though, like I do agree with you in the sense of like I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with saying, "Hey, look, in my life, the thing I care the most about is my family, my faith, whatever it may be. Those things. If you have those things, whether it be faith or family, like children and wives, like, in terms of family that you are kind of responsible for, like children, like you are the caretakers of them. And your wife is your teammate in that endeavor, if you have that situation, or partner, whoever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's totally reasonable. I think most people in the world, no matter what they do, would say, if I had to sacrifice my job or my kids, I'm going to sacrifice my job. Like, we're not going to fault you for that. It's completely fine for having those ideas. But I think,
Well, some people were also. I did see people have that opinion,
well,
which
yeah,
is why.
I think some of those people are also like a little to the extreme and maybe not really like, they're just like, this is probably where you saw was mainly on the Twitter X world. And
the comments
that spawns some of the most interesting people nowadays. But I will say, like, Rendon, it just feels like it is a sense of like, well, yes, we understand what you're saying, but you're kind of missing this factor where you are a public figure in a public sport that is a massive part of this team because of your salary. And in a way, people are kind of entitled to know about what's going on with you. You are important to a product that a lot of people care about. And obviously, yes, it's a meaningless product in the grand scheme of things. It's not important, but in terms of dollars and values, he has a lot of value to this team and to his job. And I think if your job, like for me, if my job perceives me as that valuable, I'm going to work as if I'm that valuable, and I think there's some times where it just feels like that's the issue we're in, don't it? It feels like he doesn't try very hard. We don't know that. We are not privy to his practice routines and his training, but that's just the perception it gives off. So he gives off the perception of like, oh yeah, I'd rather be like, I think the character of his like, I'd rather be surfing in California with my bros right now. And obviously he's given throughout the years pretty much the same answer, saying, I want to care about my family and my faith over baseball. And for some reason, I feel like it still comes off as like, yes, we get it, but you got to you got to stop being so antagonistic. And that's where I think there's some stuff here on Rendon. Like, it's on you too, buddy. Like, let's just be a little positive sometimes. Like,
I think.
Do you think Joey Votto is a super like? Do you think he loves being super like public? I think he's a pretty private person, but he's an incredibly nice, endearing figure that a lot of people like. It's like there's ways you can be like that, and Rendon is just like a little too curmudgeon-y for my taste.
No, you're totally right, but I don't think this is one of those cases. Like, I don't know. I just from watching the video, I get that this was like a misunderstanding. I think he was trying. Even like his facial expressions, like I think he was trying to be a little bit relatable, and people were like, "Oh, you think you're relatable? No, you're a baseball player. You're a superstar. You're like I think that's what happened. I think this guy just can't win at this point. Not that he doesn't deserve that necessarily, because yeah, he's spent the last 8 years, almost 10 years, just being like, I just play baseball because I'm good. I don't really care. Like blah 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 blah. And like maybe once or twice in the context of a serious conversation, it's okay to say baseball is not exactly the most meaningful thing when you're a player. But yeah, like when you're a player and that's the most talked about thing you say when you're interviewed, yeah, it's ridiculous. I get it. I get all that. But I just don't think this was one of those times. I just think it was a total misunderstanding. I want to ask you, if Clayton Kershaw, the guy whose kids are at the home run derby having fun because they want to watch Uncle who is it?
Mookie Betts.
Yeah, Uncle Mookie. Like they want to watch him in the home run derby, right? If Clayton Kershaw had said this exact thing, it's never been a top priority for me. This is a job. I do this to make a living. My faith, my family come first before this job. So if those things come before it, I'm leaving. If Kershaw, in the context of Kershaw, said that exact quote, are people going to be up in arms that he said that, or are people going to be like, he's a family man?
No, they're not. But I think the reason why is, hey, I've read countless articles from incredibly like Sports Illustrated, like actual legit places, like profile pieces on how Kershaw is helping places in Africa get clean drinking water. You know, like there is countless evidence to show. I'm pretty sure he's won the Roberto Clemente award. Like there's like he's a good person. Like we know that. We see Kershaw and we know he's genuine.
Yes.
Because he's doing all these good things. It's just like Rendon, we don't know you. We know nothing about you. And that's the difference there. Like I think there's other players we give them more of a pass because they show us more of who they are. If they say stuff like that, we'd understand.
And I think that's my point, that context does matter, and everyone read this first and foremost, and so their mind was made up because we know who Anthony Rendon is. And I think that people's minds were made up.
Do we though?
Yes, I think we do. I think we know that he doesn't like baseball, and even him doing that interview, like, yeah, he wanted to be a little tongue in cheek, and it didn't actually land. But I think he's doing that because he's trying to do his best to get away from these questions. Like, I think he's trying to do this in a way where he can try to be seen as a good guy and not have to be like, I don't want to ask questions about how I don't like baseball anymore. Don't ask me that, because that's just going to make people even hate him even more. Like, I think he's trying to find a way out of it, and yeah, it just didn't work. It didn't work this time. So that's my take. Maybe we can just leave Anthony Rendon alone for this instance. I don't think he deserved it. That's my public service announcement out to people. Yeah, that's just sort of my thing. Because look, I want to even say, like, this reporter Sam Blum, the guy that he's a reporter for The Athletic, during the season when he was tweeting his interactions with Anthony Rendon, I was fully on it. I'm fully with Sam Blum in those instances where he's the guy that reported where he asked him a question about his injury, and Anthony Rendon is like, no hablo inglés today, like, and he's being a total jerk. Like, I'm fully on board with Sam Blum in those instances. I just don't think in this instance I think he was fishing. I think he was fishing. And if you listen to the full thing with the sound and everything, anyone, I'm talking just to anyone. I'm not talking to Tyler. I'm talking to anyone. If you listen to the full thing, full context, it's on Fox Sports MLB. Like, it's there. It's right there. It's been up for 3 hours. So you can find it. It's not hard to find. You'll see. Like, it's really just, I don't think it's that bad right now. That's just that. Yeah. But did you also see that Mike Trout said he doesn't want to be traded? Because they were doing a whole media.
Yeah, we know.
So it was
that's the only thing he's ever said. He's never going to leave Los Angeles. It's like, yeah, we know. We all want you to request a trade. It's like every year. It's like, will he do it? We're all like, please. And it's like, no, you want to stay with this dumpster fire forever. Great.
He called it the easy way out.
Look, bro, I want you to, I don't care, be on the Phillies. I don't care. Do it. Like, be on another team. Be on a team that can win. They made it to World Series before, like recently.
Well, it's funny you said the Phillies. Bryce Harper said he's moving to first base, probably full time. Will probably never play right field again, so that's interesting. But I love the Phillies. They just, like, don't care who plays a position. They just want everyone to hit. Like, that's their philosophy. It's always just, no, we don't care how bad your defense is. Just go hit the ball. And I think, but the reason why I brought up the Trout thing, it was pretty funny. I was reading the exchange. I wish I could find the actual audio of it, but I couldn't find the video of that either. But I read the exchange of this one with Sam Blum, and Sam Blum was like, I think it was Sam Blum because he tweeted it out, but they were asking Trout about the trade. He's like, no, I don't want to go. It's the easy way out, blah, blah, blah. And they said, have you done anything to try to get the ownership to do certain things? He's like, yeah, I've been in constant contact with the ownership, just giving them suggestions, really putting their feet to the fire, as if they've done anything. But he's like, he said, like, I've given names of people I want, people that, all these requests and things. And then the reporter followed up with, so do you think they're going to do it? And the answer wasn't just a no. It was, oh, well, Artie, which is a no, but it's like a significant signal that Trout just basically told us expect the team to get 50 wins next season. So that's great. That's nice. Poor Trout. I think at this point that's the end of the episode. Like, I don't have anything else here on the slate for us to talk about.
Do you predict the Angels to make the playoffs?
Do I predict it? No, I don't predict the Angels to make the playoffs. I don't at all. I don't think they made no moves. They've made zero moves. They've made I think they made some bullpen additions, but aside from that, huh? And they need pitching. Like, if I'm not a Yankee fan, the team that like, if I'm being honest, like, now that the Yankees are going for Blake Snell, yeah, I want them to get him. But if it's not that, I would like to see him go to the Angels, because like they need a guy that's going to be a name and a front rotation piece, especially now that Otani's gone. And that's the guy that will get the name in the seats. Whether or not he's able to produce past his Cy Young season is a different thing, but like, no, I don't predict them making the playoffs. Do you have any final thoughts, Tyler?
No, I don't think so. I just thought you would go with the Angels again, to make playoffs. I thought that would be funny, but I understand. You got to hop off at some point.
No, now they're actually going to win 90 games. I said that.
Yeah, that was holding them back.
Yeah, exactly. No, but the thing I wanted to say is also, everyone keep an eye out. We're going to be posting in March. We're going to be putting out our Team a Day preview of the 2024 MLB season. We're going to be, basically giving you guys a taste on what the morning run has in store, what we think teams are going to look like, sort of a grading system, talking about what their whole deal is, the additions they made, all that good stuff, and basically giving everyone a chance to get caught up for the season. That's going to be posted on X, though, on Twitter, on YouTube. We're going to be posting that on other social medias. It's not going to be in the podcast format, but I just wanted to announce that right now, because I think that's going to be fun. Tyler and I have a lot of good ideas that we're still looking over that, but that's going to be coming in March. I want everyone to look out for that. Yeah. Tyler, you have no final thoughts, you said, no?
Oh, yeah, I think that was a good way to wrap it up.
Okay, well, I have one final thought. It was just something I found when I was getting an article to sort of fill myself in about the whole Matt Chapman, Blake Snell thing that we ended up discussing. But apparently, according to, I think it was USA Today, that they were asking the owner of the Cubs, that Ricketts guy, Tom Ricketts, what he feels, what he thinks they're going to do about Cody Bellinger, if they're going to sign him or not. And his reply was that they haven't actually gotten to a negotiation stage, and the moment his agents contact him about that, they will be happy to send a contract out. So that's just kind of wild. Cody Bellinger just doesn't, his managers might be as high as he looks all the time. I don't know why is that the case, but that was an interesting little thing that I found that I wanted to leave you all with. These free agents, it's just so bizarre. It's so bizarre. And the thing I wanted to end with too is, you brought up Jordan Montgomery. Yeah, he's not even in any of these articles. It's only the trio, Snell, Chapman, and what's his face, and Bellinger. It's never Montgomery. This whole free agency has been weird. And Liam Hendricks signed a 2-year deal with the Red Sox. That's the last thing I wanted to end with. Thank you all. We'll see you next week.